Hello, how are you? I am excited to come to you live from my home in Queens. Today, I really want to share about my brother. And how did I not see that? Okay. I really want to share about. Hi, Marta. How are you? Tonight's my brother's yard site. That means on this night, Yushva, on this night, 12 years ago, we found out he passed away. And it's hard to talk about somebody you love in past tense and kind of like reliving that painful experience. But I really don't want to focus on, the sad points of him. I really want to focus on what I learned, because I think after it all is said and done, it's all about how much we've gained from the people who've touched our life and how that can transform us, right? Especially after they're gone, it's like that was their whole story, almost like from cover to cover, it's over. So like when you read that last page, you're like, oh, so that was what you were about. That was your message. Hi, Sarah, how are you? I hope everything is okay. Hi, Yocheved. All my lovely ladies. I love you guys. So, my brother went through a lot in his 29 years. He died on his 29th birthday. He was a really special guy. And he had a stroke when he was 14. And some of you may not know this about him, but he went through a lot. Like, he almost died many times in Israel and in New York. And I remember, so many things that I learned from him. He knew how to have humor. He knew how to just kind of get through tough situations with finesse. But I really want to focus on this one thing. And especially today, because today is actually Yudalit Iyar, which means Pesach Sheni. For those of you that don't know, it's like a second chance for Passover. For those that in the time of the temple could not celebrate Passover the right way because they were traveling, they couldn't figure it out, God gave them a second chance. And this is what I feel like my brother was about. God gave him a second chance at life when he was 14 years old, because he was sick for, he was like, the doctor said he's probably not going to make it out of this. And nobody should know that kind of terror and fear to see your child go through that. And my parents are incredible people. I love them. If you know my parents, you understand. So what did he teach me above all else? He taught me the concept of how not to judge. He himself was judged a lot. He was judged based on how he looks. I remember he went out on a date with a girl, and he had a little limp, because he had a stroke when he was 14, and he was damaged from that. And he couldn't use his right hand because of it. He used his left hand, and he actually learned how to draw. It was fascinating to me, like a whole different part of his brain started developing. And that girl, when she saw him on the date, like they had such good chemistry on the phone. And I remember he came home from that date so sad because he faced a lot of rejection in school, at home, not at home, but I'm saying like dating wise. And watching him go through life with this handicap taught me a lot about people don't see your heart. People don't see your heart, and they judge you on the surface. Like they shouldn't, but they do. And today I was actually talking to a girl, a lovely girl, and she was telling me about like she wants to lose weight. I coach, right? So she calls me up, she tells me, I really want to lose weight. So we get into the why and how and stuff like that. And she says to me, people judge me. It was so hard for me to listen to this because I felt her pain when she was telling me, people look at me, they think I'm fat, and she uses these words, like she's like with anger, like just like it sounds like poison, She's like they say to me, you need to lose weight if you want to marry someone, you're too fat. The guy said you need to lose weight, and she says to me, I'm so conflicted because I know I want to lose weight, but I feel like I'm doing it for the wrong reasons because people are judging me based on how I look. Like I want somebody to love me for my insides. So we start talking about like why it's good for her to lose weight and not just for someone else to want it for her, or she wants it for someone else. And that whole thing came down to me about like, are we judging each other without knowing each other? You know, in Pirkei Avos, in this book, this is one of my favorite books. It's called Ethics of Our Fathers. And it's basically, for those of you that don't know, it's basically like wise sayings of sages. And on chapter 4, it says, who is really wise? Who is really wise? A person who learns from all people. When we judge other people, we can't learn from them because we're too busy judging them. We're too busy looking at them and thinking, look at you. You can't even get your life together. You don't even know how to take care of yourself. How can you take care of someone else or a spouse or figure out your own, I don't know, you're a total mess. And that right there, when we judge someone, we are reflecting our own deficiencies, our own ignorance. When we look at someone with that limited vision, we're basically exposing ourselves. We're exposing ourselves when we say, could you believe her? What would be great instead? It would be great for us to practice a new mantra. Don't judge until you're in their shoes. If anybody would even know what it's like to walk a day in my brother's shoes, with his limp, with his, judgments of people. It was so sad to hear him talk about how he experienced life like that. But he was so strong, and he taught me so much about just in life how to persevere and how to just look through that. When he set me up with my husband, he told me, you should go out with this guy. And I'll tell you something, I judged my husband before I met him. I said, I don't think he's this and that and the other. And he's like, don't judge him before you get to know him. Find out who he is before you judge him. And that was powerful for me because I gave him a chance. And I'll be honest with you, my husband judged me back, okay? When I went on a first date with him, he didn't want to go out on a second date with me. I don't know why. I mean, let's be honest. It was shocking. My parents said to themselves, if he doesn't say yes to her, she will, I don't know what, because I really liked him. But he didn't call me back after the first date. And my brother, being the wise guy that he was, but not like a wise guy, like he was a wise man, like he was a wise young adult, he came up to my now husband at the time. We just went out on one date, and he tells him, I know you went out with my sister one time. What's going on? And he's like, I don't think she's for me. Because he judged me on just that one date, because I was being scared, because I was like, when you really like someone, you're not yourself so much, and you end up being a little bit too much extra. I know, that was what I did. I became a little extra. And that was a little much for my husband, because he's like, I don't see the mother of my children in her. And my brother said, you should give her one more, you should go out on another date with her. I see you guys, I know you both. Trust me. And I'll tell you, of course, he went out on one more date and he proposed. No, it didn't happen like that. We went out for a little bit more, and we got married within 5 months. So it was fast. And I have to say, it's thanks to my brother. Thank you, Nerik, if you're listening. I love you, and I wish you were here to see and reap the benefits of what you sowed. And I just want to say to you, if there's someone who's looking for a match and you're an in-between, or somebody who's trying to do something for themselves and you're in between the situation, God is giving you an opportunity to lift yourself up and grow into your bigger shoes by not judging that person, by looking through compassion about what they went through and how they must have experienced their life to come to this point and do things this way. We don't know. It's so easy for us to judge. We don't know what they've been through or how they've experienced the pains that they've experienced up until this point. You don't know whether they're doing drugs, whether they're eating badly, or consuming alcohol, or I don't know what type of issues you have a judgment over on that person that may be valid, understand this. It is not our place to judge. It is up there to judge. All we can do is come at the situation either with compassion or retreat. Because if we can't give compassion, giving judgment isn't better. Giving judgment isn't better than retreating. Just step away. And I just want to say thank you for all these beautiful people that I'm surrounded by. I'm so grateful. And you get better at this, at being grateful in life and appreciating the people in your life when you go through trauma and you go through challenges and you realize, like, oh my God, like, life is so freaking short. It's so short. I mean, you're here and then you're not here. Could you imagine? You're here and then you're not here, and then there's no more of you. So what is all this life about? Is it about judgment? Believe me, if you're consumed by judging other people, whether it's you or someone else, you know what happens? You don't have time to think about yourself, about what you can contribute to the world, because you're too busy judging. Your mind is consumed with other things. As much as we like to think that we can multitask, I'll tell you the truth, we do not multitask. We single-handedly task on one thing, or we switch tasks. So if you're consumed with judging her, and I just would like to ask you something. When you are consumed with this thought, ask yourself, if I wasn't thinking this right now, what could I be thinking of? You'd be surprised. You could be thinking of your children, things that matter, people in your life who need you, instead of, why does she act like that? Why does she do that? And believe me, every encounter that you have in your life is designed to lift you into a higher frequency. Unless you don't choose that frequency, and then you just get sucked into the drama. And that in itself is its own pain. That is its own suffering. And we don't have to be in that space. This light is annoying me. I don't know if you are annoyed by it. I'm going to try to move a little. Anyway, I want to just give a shout out to my brother, who, Neria Ben Sophia Sonia, who, God bless his soul, may he rest in peace, for teaching me about this beautiful concept. And I hope you learn it not through pain, but through joy. I hope you learn it not through suffering of somebody's illness in your life, but really through compassion and this appreciation that God put inside of you, this beautiful, beautiful light to grow and create more light around you. So keep shining and being that light. I'm done. And also want to give a refuah shalema for Ricky Rivka Bat Naama. I'm praying for her every day that she should have a full recovery. And I know the doctors are working hard to take care of her. And she had a baby girl, for those of you that are following. She's intubated in a hospital with COVID, and they delivered her baby. So anyway, thank you for being part of this conversation with me. And if you do have a moment, you can light a candle for my brother. May he rest in peace, Neria, Nerik Ben, Sophia Sonia. Thank you so much. Have a good night.